Welcome again. My name is Brian Burke, Executive Director of the Center for Family Business. We are talking to as many mayoral candidates as are willing to come on with us in this pre-election period. And today we're joined by Val Neekman, I should say, who is running for mayor of the city of Kitchener. And of course, Val, whenever I get someone who has not run for office before, I go, why are you running for mayor?
One of the reasons that I am leaving a very good company that I've got and probably demoting myself financially is because I see that the city is broken. Nothing in the city is working properly. We have encampment and nobody is moving a finger because it's the election season and that is an election they might lose. So if they don't do anything, they're going to win and then the fake promises continues. That is the reason. So when an organization gets stale and when leadership overstays their welcome, when new ideas become old, when a group of people who need to challenge one another get comfortable over time and outvote any meaningful opposition. When that happens, the culture has become deeply ingrained. So a prosperous Kitchener needs to think in new ways. We need to come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things, and new options. And to do that, we need to leave the old culture behind and opt in for a change. I am that element. I am your agent for change. Kitchener deserves better. Just keeping the status quo is not enough. Just faking the numbers to keep the taxes low is not enough. We need to make sure that there is term limit, 2 terms for all elected officials that run for the city. Therefore, we inject fresh blood every 2 terms minimally. That's why I'm running, to be that agent of change, to make sure that I put the term limits in. After 2 terms, I'm going to step aside, will make myself available free of charge as an advisor till the next young and vibrant mayor gets a hang of running the city. That is why I am running.
You brought up the issue of encampments, Val, and obviously it's a huge issue in Kitchener. So what would be your approach to dealing with those encampments right now?
We have to figure out the nature of the encampments. We have 2 encampments that they're the major ones. They're on the news all the time, Weber and Victoria Street and Victoria Park. I've visited both. The one on Weber and Victoria Streets, the folks are different in nature when it comes to homelessness. Mental health issue is one item. Addiction that I saw is the major item there. And a few people that I talked to, they're just in perfect shape. They could work. They just threw their back and lost their jobs. And somebody did opt into the eviction. You know, you spend some money on your property and you raise the price and renovate, increase the cost and evict. And they had no choice. They cannot go back to the community because now they've lost that first and last that they need for renting a place. I will treat this group differently. I will pay all my attention for this group. Make sure before the cold season, we go and find them a better place. Not all of them want to go to shelters for whatever reasons, experiences that they had. So we have to be very sensitive. We have to be kind and we have to be compassion. The second group in Victoria Park, they have a manifesto, they have demands that they're out of the context or jurisdiction of the city. There's no way a mayor could give them a basic, universal basic income. So those are the conditions that they've got, and I will deal with those folks within the extended law, whatever that takes. We're going to bring that park and give it back to the residents of Kitchener.
So does that mean in some way forcefully moving them out?
The law, whatever the law says, because I went there and I checked them out. Everybody could work unless they have mental disabilities, which I can't. I need people to come and talk to them, the professionals. I can't decide that. But physically, I looked at them, I talked to them. They have a set of demands. Their minds is at the right place. They know what they're talking about. Go get a job, I say.
When we talk about, you mentioned the issue of rents and housing has become an issue in this. What are your thoughts on the housing issue in Kitchener?
Well, we have to make sure that we understand that inflation is an issue, and it was caused by the feds, the federal government printing money like there
Well, wait
is
a
no
minute.
tomorrow.
Wait a minute, Val. The federal government didn't create inflation around the world. So inflation right
No,
now
no,
is a
we
global
deal with
problem.
ourselves. We deal when you print money nonstop. Everybody has the same problem, but we have to acknowledge where the problem starts. I'm trying to say this is a federal issue mainly. So municipalities, they don't have that much power. You think the mayor has power? No, the mayor cannot buy a piece of gum. They have to go to the council and ask for permission. There's no discretionary budget of any sort, which means we have to reach out to the provincial and the federal. They've created it and they have means to address it. We have to ask for their help and then we implement it. Nobody could promise anything as far as the prices goes. The prices is not up to us. It's a free market. The only thing that we could do is get some money and rezone some lands and build something of small nature, tiny homes, and then make those available to newcomers to real estate, the first time buyers, some students, and transition some homeless to tiny homes as well. But if somebody's promising you that this is going to be solved within the municipalities, those are promises that they will not be kept because we need the provincial and the federals to come through for us.
As mayor, of course, you would also sit on regional council, and we're seeing word in the last 24 hours or so that there's a possible tax increase of 11%. As a regional council member, where would you be on that?
Look, we cannot spend the money that we don't have. We cannot spend the money that we don't have. The city right now, the council is lying to you. They say they know that everybody that votes is important to them. Who are they? Those folks are on fixed income. The young folks, they're on social media, they have demands, but they never show up to vote. Which means if they want to get reelected, they have to keep the property tax low. Why? Because everybody on the fixed income, they're tuned to property tax and only property tax. What the city has done, I've looked at their spreadsheet when it comes to the budget, they've tricked the residents of Kitchener. Those who vote, they say, okay, property tax is at 1.9%, lower than anybody else around us. Why do you think that is? Because they want your vote. It's even less than inflation. It should be at least matching the inflation. They said, okay, we're not going to take the money from your front pocket. And they have created a scheme, Shell Corporation. Have you heard of that? They have a corporation called natural gas. And then they charge 10%, 11% on your natural gas, which you're going to pay $74 based on their estimates. They're going to take that money, put it in the corporation. It's going to be way more than the corporation needs to operate. That becomes profit, and they will funnel it as dividends back to the shareholders. Who's the shareholder of Natural Gas Enterprise? City of Kitchener. So they take the money from your back pocket, bring it, and add it to the money that they took from your front pocket, and then they spend it. We should be honest to people of Kitchener and say, okay, we need to raise the tax if we have to, not create schemes to take the money and get the votes at the same time.
So do I take from that an 11% tax increase at the region level is something that you would support? I'm confused on where you would be on that.
I go with the rate of inflation. Right now, rate of inflation is around 8%. That is the tax, property tax. That should be. We should lower the gas tax or gas rate a little bit.
So we are running a little bit out of time, and I invite candidates at this point to give me your best front porch speech, Val. When you've knocked on my door, here I am. Make me vote for you.
Look, if you want the same old thing in Kitchener, you want to vote for the same mayor because you're happy with what he's done over the past years, be my guest. I talked to him. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy personally. But if you want change, the politicians, the career politicians, they have the fixed vision and they're in a single track. They're not going to pivot. So don't expect the same input to result in a different output. If you want change, you have to trust somebody else that comes from the community. This is a tech community. Somebody that is going to shovel things around and change things. You have to take a risk here. The biggest risk is not taking any. And 8 years is a long time for a mayor to sit there The mayor has been there for 20 years as a councillor. 28 years on the job is just too long. Politicians don't know when to quit. You have to remind them, I am your agent of change. Val for mayor.ca, and read more about me there.
Thank you, Val. Appreciate the time and best of luck. For everyone else, I remind you that voting day is October the 24th.